Hello Jammy Gamers and welcome to another 7 Days to Die video. Today is another 24 7 Days to Die tips video, just for those returning players and those that have purchased the console edition just before they release the full edition for that juicy discount they've so promised us. Without further ado then, we've got the backdrop of some old gameplay. Let's crack on! Tip number 1. So as well as dismantling, the wrench can actually upgrade or repair items. R2 is the destroy button and L2 is the repair button, just like the claw hammer or just like the stone axe. Tip number 2. Antibiotics are easy once you've got the chemistry station. So they need old sandwiches and a couple of other small ingredients, but they're cheap, they're cheerful, smash them out, don't throw away those old sandwiches, and they sell for a good value at the trader. Number 3, screamers will call in zombies plus whatever game score level you're at. So they can call in just a handful of zombies that you can take out, or they could call in the plus horde. So the really tough one with a feral, a cop, a wasp. They can seem to call in the odd dog here and there. So screamers do call in zombies. They can be of varying difficulties. So watch out. Take them out when you can. Number 4, the weather, whether it be hot, cold, blah blah blah, clothes can help either reduce your temperature or increase your temperature. So watch out which ones you're putting on. You can press triangle on these items and see what they do, whether they add temperature or they lose temperature. Also, for temperature as well, whether you're in hot and cold temperatures, you can also use teas and foods, things like that, to increase or reduce your body temperature. So have a little look. It's a really good consideration to make sure you're doing the right thing for the right environment. Number 5. So the mini bikes off a cliff, so they do take damage. Hitting your mini bike on cactus, hitting the mini bike on landmines, things like that are going to damage your mini bike. On the landmines, it's going to destroy your mini bike. It's going to reduce it to 0 durability. So watch out, it all adds up, right? Even hitting zombies, like I say, is going to do you damage on your mini bike. And all of that will add up and it will reduce the performance of it. So watch out on your mini bike, guys. Number 6, another one for screamers. So lighting fires in the forge or the campfires, as well as doing activities like mining, chopping down wood, using guns, even gore blocks on the floor. Pretty much everything that the player does, or a result of what the player does, is going to create something called heat. Now heat is an invisible marker, but enough heat in a local area is going to call in a screamer, and then more and more screamers can appear for the most amounts of heat you produce. So watch out when you're producing that heat. If you're on an easier game, turn off all those things that you don't need running. Tip number 7. So to level up your medicine, use bandages and splints. It's a little bit frustrating, it might take a little bit of fiddling around with, but you'll notice that these guys you can mass produce for your tailoring, for your medicine, for that sort of stuff. But if you use it, that gives you some medicine skill, and it's free XP. You can do it at night time or when you're traveling from A to B on foot. Just use these things, it just feed into the XP pool. Number 8 tip is to take your workbench with you. If you go exploring, if you carry a workbench and a wrench, make sure you've got a wrench to dismantle it afterwards. But if you're carrying a workbench, you can actually combine a lot of items, whether it be just clothes from the floor if you're not going to break them down for cloth, or whether it's gun parts, whether it's tools. You can take this workbench with you, keep it in your inventory, and combine these items to save inventory space. Tip number 9. So don't build straight walls. Spider zombies will climb up that straight face and be able to go in through the top of the roof of your base. So don't build straight walls. So what you want to do is just have a little lip at the top, just 1 block wide. Sometimes the poles will help out as well, although they can sort of glitch up corners, so be wary of that. But it's easy enough, as long as you don't mind the aesthetic. Do 1 block lip around the top of your build, and that will prevent the spider zombies climbing up. Tip number 10, when you're selling guns, make sure you empty the magazine. You can do this easily by assembling the gun, taking a part out, and then just putting it straight back in. It'll automatically take all of the ammunition out of that gun for you. You don't get any extra money for having more ammo in a gun than not, so take the bullets out, save them for a rainy day, or sell them separately. Tip 11. If you've got loads of leather lying around, or even animal hide, You can convert animal hide into leather to then bolster your inventory. Tip number 12, it goes hand in hand. If you make ponchos out of this leather, if you've got loads and loads lying around, you can sell this at the trader for a good amount of dukes. Hop between traders to keep evenly spreading that out. They refresh their inventory ever so often, but you're going to want to spread out the load. Tip number 13 is around beer. If you keep a beer on you, or just before Horde Night, or if you're going exploring, have a couple of beers, have a beer, you get the buzz effect. And that buzz effect, although it doesn't really seem to do a lot, it does actually stop you from being stunned. Which on higher difficulties, if you're stunned, that could be game over. So having a beer before you go exploring, or just before you engage zombies, can really help out. Tip number 14, the mining helmet doesn't care about the level of the items you're using to build it. So it doesn't matter if you've got a level 600 American football helmet, a level 600 flashlight. It only cares about the armor skill and the science skill that you've got, which then feeds the level of the helmet. Tip number 15, if you wonder what that empty slot is on your guns, it's for flashlights. It should be a little icon to demonstrate to you exactly what it needs. But those flashlights on guns are really going to be quite helpful. They're brighter than the mining helmet, so really they can light up the way far better. So if you are in a dark situation, you need your gun anyway, to stick that gun flashlight on. You'll be able to see a lot further. Tip 16 is around hunting meat. So even with zombies actually, if you crouch with bows and guns, crossbows as well, you'll get the Skyrim-esque sneak damage multiplier. So this can be ×2, it is ×2, ×3 is for stun damage, or damage when they're stunned. So this little hunting tip when you're crouching using the bows and guns is going to really help you one-shot those animals and do an awful lot more damage to zombies before you engage. Tip 17 is also around hunting. So if you're hunting pigs and deers, wait until you've got a mini bike. Yeah, survive off tins of food if you can in the early game. Once you've got your mini bike, just run down these animals. It saves all the faff of trying to hunt them and sneak up with bows and guns and whatever else. Just run them down on the mini bike and then get your knife out and carve them up. Tip 18. Stick sand in your forge, not just glass. When you're out in the world scavenging, you're going to find a lot of glass panes, glass bottles, all these sorts of things, and you'll be tempted to scrap it or smelt it down as a whole. Don't bother. Sand is far more readily available around the side of ponds, lakes, or in the desert biome. Grab a bunch of sand, it's quick and easy and cheap, stick that in the forge, and save inventory space when scavenging. Just don't pick up the glass or just bin it straight off. Tip 19. Make sure you mark your bag when you die with a marker. Not a temporary marker, you can only have one of those on the map. You can only have one of these bag icons on the map as well. So mark it with a permanent icon, whether it be the little X mark to mark the spot of the treasure, because if you die trying to retrieve that bag, you're going to lose the original bag icon on the map. Tip number 20, so you can hit trees just with your fist or with an axe to check its health. You can check if it's a 300, 600, 900 or 1200 tree by giving it a quick tap. It doesn't matter in terms of the growth of the tree. Even with a bit of damage, that tree is going to continue growing to its full height. 21 is soil and farming and its returns. So whilst you're farming, don't plant crops on normal soil. That will give you one crop for your one seed. You're going to have to till it with a hoe, which is craftable in your inventory once you've got some forged iron. Usually this will give you a double return. For certain crops like corn, that one seed will give you 3 back. For potatoes and most crops, that one seed will give you 2 potatoes back. If you till the fertilizer into the soil after you've tilled the normal dirt, that's going to increase your yield. Things like corn from one seed will give you 5 back, and things like potatoes will give you 3 back. So fertilizer is well worth it. Tip 22 around fertilizer, whilst we're there, have a second cement mixer, maybe even 3 if you've got the spare engines. It's cheaper to make fertilizer in the cement mixer than it is in the chemistry station. It seems to be a bit quicker, but you want that spare cement mixer to keep your cement in one, fertilizer in the other. If you have a look, Although it's more resource friendly than the chemistry station, it takes a hell of a long time to make any fertilizer inside anything. So have a separate cement mixer to keep your cement. Tip 23 will be the small boulders on the map. They are guaranteed iron. They're actually quite a feasible source of iron even towards the late game if you just need a little bit in a pinch. They have 3 stages. Each stage will give you iron and some stone, and it has a chance to drop other resources as well, whether it be lead, nitrate powder or coal. You have a chance from these small boulders, so give them a smash. And tip 24, so the animal fat you're going to have in abundance by late game. If you keep breaking down those zombie bodies and the animals that you find on your travels, animal fat is not going to be an issue for you. What you can do is you can sell the fat straight off, or you can make it into tallow, which is going to increase the value when you want to sell it to the trader. Those are the 24 tips for you guys. Hope you liked the video. Give us a like and subscribe, we really appreciate it. Drop a like or a comment even if you want to let us know where you're from. It's really interesting having a look on the YouTube analytics, and we're really excited to touch base with more of our viewers. Hope you're excited for the console release coming around the July mark. Until next time, stay safe, survivors. Catch you later.